Hello everyone, welcome back to the This and Yap podcast. I'm Kayla.
I'm Hannah.
Today we're going to be talking about confidence and delusion. We are both quite confident now, I would say. But we both were really insecure a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think that the main thing that has made us more confident is our delusion.
100%. And our friendship has been really big.
Yeah.
And our husbands have been really big.
Yeah.
So we're always talking about how insecure we used to be and how now we've started a podcast.
Yeah.
And we're just unhinged and completely delusional.
Just absolutely thriving now.
So we've kind of been talking about what was the shift for us and what advice can we give to you guys on how to become confident and delusional.
Should we dive in?
Let's do it. Okay, this one is in the thread advice. The title is My Insecurities Are Ruining My Life. I Can't Even Leave My House. I'm incredibly insecure about many things, my appearance, intelligence, personality, but most notably, I'm insecure about having a plump buttocks.
Oh, girl. If I had a plump buttocks, are you kidding? A fatty? A dumpy? She should really lean into that.
I know.
Because frick.
I thought it was a joke in the beginning. I was like, okay, she's like, I'm so insecure about this fat ass. But she's not joking. Okay, I'll keep reading. I can't leave my house without worrying it sticks out too much, and if it's so pronounced that it's catching everyone's attention. It's feminine, but it looks weird. I can't stop worrying about it. Another insecurity is my hair. I worry that it's too thin, and I'm constantly readjusting it so my scalp isn't visible when the wind blows or something pushes it. I'm insecure about my head shape. I think it's too long and thin. My eyes are too puffy. I'm insecure about my intelligence. I can't focus in conversations. My verbal fluency is horrendous. I'm insecure about my voice. It's too coarse. These are just a few of my many insecurities I have. My opinion of myself is very low and it's interfering with my day-to-day life. I don't have any friends because I barely leave my house. I fear criticism, being judged, and being noticed. I need help. What can I do?
Wow.
I know. I wonder how old she is.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. I think that once your brain cooks a little and you're 25 plus,
Yeah.
you just get more comfortable with yourself.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. What are your thoughts right off the bat?
Okay, so I want to go through point by point what she said. Firstly,
Fat ass.
girlfriend, embrace that.
Lean in.
I am so jealous of that. Okay, I wish that she knew what we were saying about her.
I know.
That's a huge plus in my opinion. I wish I had a butt like that.
I think it's hard because I know some people with huge boobs are really insecure about them or whatever, and a lot of people get reduction. So I'm sure it's the same thing if you have a massive ass. Some people like us or whoever is like, oh my gosh, I wish I had that. But it's if you have maybe too much in your own mind of anything and it's something that people comment on all the time, or even if you're super super skinny, it's it makes you insecure.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that the grass is always greener, and for example, people have commented on my flat chest, people have commented on the fact that I have no butt, people have called me too skinny, too blah 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 whatever, and I'm I could let that bother me, but I'm not going to, because I think it's all about mentality and do you like yourself?
Yeah, totally. I think too, if you have one thing that's super, super pronounced, neither of us have really anything that's so pronounced. And people have been commenting on that all of your life. That's probably hard. It's a part of your identity, but I don't know, even if you don't want it to be. And I also think that I'm in the camp of if something's bothering you after 25 and you don't have a huge list of things bother you, go get that thing surgically changed.
Yeah, if it's gonna make you feel better, for sure, go for it.
Yeah.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that. We've got Botox, we've got filler. We're, I think, very pro, do whatever you want to feel confident. But I also think that people should know that they don't need to do that, and it's best if you can just embrace yourself for who you are and what you are. But yeah, if it's a huge insecurity, do whatever you gotta do.
Okay, wait, let's read the rest of her things and we'll loop back.
So big butt. She's worried about her thin hair. She feels the need to constantly readjust it so that her scalp isn't visible. Do you have any advice for that?
There's clip-ins. I'm just joking. I'm gonna go through everything and be okay, doctor, let's give her a list of resources. No. Okay, wait, let's go through everything.
Okay, so thin hair. She is insecure about her head shape. She thinks it's too long and thin. Okay, I feel like I have had this because I've been insecure about my facial structure. I don't have a cute little baby face. I have, I think, more defined features, maybe a little bit more dramatic. My nose is crooked. I have like very intense cheekbones or whatever. And I did used to be really insecure about that, but now I'm leaning in.
I think it's like, it's literally you want everything you don't have. Because I love your face and I love like a structured face.
We're flirting with each other.
I'm literally obsessed with you. No, I love your face because I've always been more baby face or whatever, like chubby cheeks. And I hated that. And I think it like shows in the people that we're obsessed with.
So true.
Yeah, because everyone that you'll be like, oh, she's so pretty. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, she's pretty, but I don't think she's like the prettiest person I've seen. Yeah. It's always like a baby face person. All the people I love have these like structured faces that are like so interesting. And that's like more your thing.
Yeah. When I was getting glasses when I was like 20 years old, the optician or optometrist, whatever they're called, was fitting my face for the glasses. And he's like, have you ever broken your nose? I'm like, nope.
No.
Just look like this.
Yeah. It's so sad. I feel like nose is like a huge thing for girls. So many girls don't like their nose. And it's like, not everyone is going to have this one specific type of nose.
Yeah, the little cute baby button ski slope nose.
We can't all be perfect.
Yeah, we can't all be perfect like you.
No, joking. But no, and I think that the face shape thing must be common because when she was saying that, I was like, I remember like up until a couple of years ago, I felt like my face was way too long. And it's also like when you're growing up, like when I was a kid and like going into middle school and stuff like that, I felt like my face looked so long, or like I like kind of got told that it was really long, and also that like my nose is like a piggy nose or whatever because it turns up.
Your nose is so cute and your face shape is beautiful.
Thank you. But I think I like grew into it.
Yeah.
But like kind of when you're in those awkward phases of like you haven't grown into it yet, and I feel like if anyone comments on it or whatever, your perception of yourself like kind of stays like that. Versus like now I look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, everything's balanced, like it looks fine and it's not too long or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's hard to like let your brain catch up with you, I guess.
Yeah, that is very, very true. She also says she thinks her eyes are too puffy. I don't know exactly what that means.
Maybe like bags underneath?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Concealer.
Or gua sha.
Yeah. She said, I'm insecure about my intelligence. I can't focus in conversations. My verbal fluency is horrendous. So I've talked to you a lot about the fact that I think that people think that I'm dumb, or people have commented and said I'm dumb. I think it's important to just know that you're not dumb. I think that we're all very intelligent in our own ways, and we have certain areas where we're more versed and certain areas where we're less versed, and that's totally fine. Verbal fluency and focusing in on conversations. I wonder if the focusing on conversations is like she's trying to think about the next thing she's gonna say and isn't focused on what the person is saying to her.
Okay, yeah, I have a couple things to say. With the dumb thing, it's so interesting because, like, yeah, you've talked about that to me, and I've also felt that way too, of like being insecure about feeling dumb or whatever. And I wonder if it's just because we're beautiful. I'm joking. But I'm just like, I feel like a lot of girls feel that way and are insecure about being dumb. But I'm like, why? And like, why have people made us feel that way when we're not? And I wonder if it's kind of like, if you're prettier, if people kind of assume you're dumb. I feel like that's one of those things that like we quickly put that label on other people. Because I got roasted in school growing up, but like when I was a kid, I'm like dyslexic or whatever, so I went to the learning disability and whatever, and like was taken out of stuff all the time to go get like extra help and whatever, just with spelling and that sort of thing because of that. But that's not when I was made fun of. It was like when I was in high school and I like had a glow up, but nobody knew I couldn't spell for shit, and I got like good grades and everything like that. So there was no reason to think I was super dumb, but I got like made fun of all the time. But I leaned into it and just like let people make fun of me, and like, I don't know.
I know, I've done the same thing, and I think women get it all the time. I don't often, I mean, this is just for me. I don't know if other people feel this way. I never think right off the bat that a man is dumb.
No. Oh no, I do actually. No, I do.
Yeah.
But not guys our age, just middle-aged men, but that's because I'm the biggest hater.
I think it's a thing with men, and they say things so confidently that I'm like, that is so true. Like, you know what you're talking about, but it's when we start to second guess ourselves. Women do that more often than men, I think.
It's so interesting because I'm like, I feel like most men don't think that they are dumb. if you hear like a man say that they're insecure and they feel like they're dumb or something like that, like I would be shocked to hear that.
I know, me too.
Yeah, it's 1 in a million. But, and I feel like even the ones that are dumb, they just like think that they're like great.
Yeah.
Versus women, it's like majority of women, I feel like, assume that they are dumb. But almost all the women I met, I think are so brilliant and so smart. Do you feel like now you're more confident in that area?
Yeah, I think so, because I stopped believing what people were telling me, and I stopped believing the negative things that people were telling me, and I started believing the positive things that people were telling me. Because I feel like as much as we want to say like, oh, what other people think of us doesn't matter and doesn't affect our self-perception, unfortunately it does, for me at least. So I would really like, if people were saying these things to me, I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe I am not as smart, or maybe I am not as good at these things as they are. But then when I started hanging out with you, who is always hyping me up, and my husband, who is always telling me how amazing, how smart I am, I started listening to the positive things. That's kind of when my mentality about myself shifted.
That's so good. I feel like, yeah, it definitely is who you surround yourself with. That makes a massive difference. I think for me, it's like the same. Winston, like, gassing me up all the time, and ever since we met, like, one of his things that he's like, what I love about you is like he thinks I'm so smart. So that for me, I'm always like, oh, okay, yeah. And I like definitely thought I was super dumb before too, and was like so embarrassed of that. But I think that what kind of gave me confidence is just like leaning into my strengths and being like, okay, I'm really creative, so I'm like focusing on creative. I'm like pretty good at like marketing and like building a brand, and then like connecting with people, different things.
And believing those things about yourself.
100%. And just leaning into your strengths, and then whatever it is, I feel like she needs to pinpoint what am I not good at, and like what is making me being insecure, because smart is such a massive
Totally, you can't be smart at everything.
No, you can't be good at everything. So like for me, I'm like, okay, I can't spell for shit. I'm super disorganized. I'm like late a lot, and I'm really forgetful. So those are like the things that have made me really insecure and made me think like I'm not smart. But then it's like, I feel like take those things and be like, hey, these are the things I'm not good at. Some people, like, it's like you can work on those things if you want to. I haven't. I'm just like, okay, throw them out the window. I literally don't care. And then just like joke about them, make fun of them.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better. Like for me, you guys have probably seen I can't spell. So then I'll make a joke about it when people DM me and they're like, oh, you spelled this wrong. Like on my personal account, I spell stuff wrong all the time. I got like one video where I spelled business wrong, and that's like one of 3 words in the caption. The video gets like 4 million views. All these people are commenting like business is spelled wrong, business is spelled wrong. So it's just like lean into it.
Yeah.
And joke about yourself. It's not that big of a deal. Just because I can't spell doesn't mean I'm not smart.
Yeah.
And then focus on all the things that you are good at.
Exactly. So true. And also the things that you aren't good at still can be like strength in a sense. Like if you just shift your mentality from like, you could get really down on yourself and be like, oh, 4 million people saw that I spelled business wrong. Or you could look at it as in like
marketing tactic.
Yeah, the fact that I spelled business wrong got me 4 million views.
All these people are engaging because I spelled business wrong. And that's exactly what I do now. I'm like, I've made it like a little part of like my brand and my personality, not being able to spell. And I feel like just being open and honest about those things kind of makes you more relatable and even interesting. Like, you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah. Back to this girly. She's insecure about her voice and that it's too coarse. That's sexy.
That is sexy, yeah.
We love a coarse voiced woman.
Anything different, like me and Winston were watching Game of Thrones last night, and this one character came on and Winston was like, he has such a unique voice. And then a couple characters after that, I noticed like the ones that had really interesting voices, and I'm like, oh, they're casting people with really interesting and unique voices. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like when we talk, I feel like it's very like we have normal voices that are in the normal range and normal cadence and whatever. If you have a different voice, like, I don't know, I feel like that's a positive.
Lean into it. I feel like all of these things that she's saying, our overall advice would be like, embrace
lean
these
in
things. Like these are great things.
Badass. Her face shape, her voice, like all of these things. It's like if you lean into them, you can make this part of like your personal brand and identity.
Yeah.
I feel like she needs to go become an influencer.
I think so too.
Yeah.
We love her.
We love her. I wonder what her name is. She didn't say her name, her age, anything.
I hope she listens to this.
I know.
Anyway, Next.
Yeah.
No, all that to say, I think that this girl sounds beautiful and she sounds lovely. I think that she just needs to get a better perception. She just needs to shift the way that she sees herself.
I think too, what was the exercise? I did this with my therapist one time where she had me like write out, like draw a line down and write out all the things that I want people to think about me and like know about me and see about me. And then all the things that like I would like to hide and I really do not want people to know about me or whatever. And then we were just going through and talking about them. But I think that like taking the list of like these things that you want to hide and like showing the world, like making a point of like telling your friend, telling your husband, whoever it is, like, oh, I hate this about myself, whatever, here's how it makes me feel, blah, blah, blah. And then you give people the opportunity to like speak into it.
So true. It takes the shame away.
100%. And also just like get somebody else's perspective. I feel like we do that a lot where we'll be like, oh, I'm feeling like this right now. I'm really insecure. And then even if you don't say like, no, you're beautiful, blah, blah, blah. If you're just like, oh yeah, I feel like that all the time too, whatever, it just makes it feel so much lighter and not a big deal. And then you realize that like your friends don't care that much and like no one's thinking about it.
No, and that's the thing too, is she's scared to go outside, but nobody is thinking that of her. People aren't looking at this person and analyzing everything about her and saying like, oh, I don't like this about you. Nobody's thinking that deeply about you.
No. And one other thing is like, I feel like, yeah, we're so focused on how people perceive us, but people care about how you make them feel. So if she just shift her perspective to like, okay, I want to go out and like make my friends feel really loved, make my sister feel really loved, or like make new friends and like whatever. It's like if you're just focusing on like asking people questions and like engaging with them and being really present, that is like the most attractive thing you can do.
That's so true. My favorite people are the people that are just objectively nice.
Yeah, personality matters way more than all of these things.
Yeah, looks fade.
I saw this thing a while ago and it was like when you're telling somebody about like your best friend or your friend or whatever, like if I'm saying like, oh yeah, Hannah, like she's my best friend, I'm not saying like, yeah, she's like super skinny and she has really thick hair and like this cool face structure and these beautiful blue eyes. You're like, oh yeah, she's like amazing, like she's just like my ride or die girl, like she gasses me up every day, like we just like have the best relationship. You're going off about like their personality and how they make you feel, not like their appearance.
Yeah.
Okay, we love you and we hope you're doing better.
Okay, this is from the Reddit thread r/am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my skinny friend that she's obese? Hi, me and my friend are both 17 female. I'm obese, nearly morbidly obese, according to the internet. I don't really care about that stuff because I think self-love is more important and I'm happy with my weight. My friend Maria is average, if not quite skinny. She's made fun of my weight before and she is always saying that it's just a joke. She constantly asks everyone in our friend group if she's fat. I understand being insecure, but it's genuinely really excessive. She never eats her lunch and always throws it away. Then she points to mine and tells me that I'm eating so much that even half of that would fill her up. Bitch. She said this every day for the past 3 or 4 months. I don't think she's on a diet or anything either. She just says weird comments like that a lot. Today, she asked to try on my jacket because she said she was cold. I thought she was actually cold, but after she said, oh my gosh, this is so huge on me. Does this actually fit you? My other friends started to laugh. I told her that she does look fat. And in fact, she looks fatter than me.
Queen behavior.
Icon. And that my jacket fits her really well. She got quiet and changed the subject, but tonight she messaged me and asked me why I would say that when I know she's insecure. I told her that I'm tired of her fishing for compliments and that being rude to me because of my weight. She said that I'm just jealous of her and she's left me on scene. I asked my parents for advice, but they agree with her and think that I was very rude, but I don't know how else I would have made it stop.
I love that she did that.
Me too. But to answer the question, am I the asshole?
Yeah. No. I think the other bitch is the asshole. I think that, like, No, it's not. It's not that mean. The girl's been mean to her for months, saying all these comments to her, whatever. She's never said anything. I feel like little sly comments are way worse, and being like, oh, you're going to eat all that, like whatever, that kind of thing is way worse.
Awful.
Yeah, than being like, oh yeah, you do look fat in that hoodie, when it's like, she obviously doesn't.
Yeah.
And being like, yeah, you look fatter than me, and you're like 100 pounds heavier than her or whatever. Like, it's like, because it's such an extreme thing to say, the girl's not going to go home and be like, do I look fatter than her? Most likely she's standing in the mirror being like, oh, that bitch is just jealous of me. That's what she texted her.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was so extreme that I feel like, sure, she could have handled it better, but I liked the way that she handled it, of just being sarcastic about it and just being like, enough is enough, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're obese. I think it's funny.
Icon behavior. No, I agree. I think it's so funny. I think that obviously it's probably not the most mature way to go about it, but I think it's funny.
At 17.
Whatever.
Like, what are you doing? But, okay, the girl, she needs like a proper confrontation, and like, I think obviously she has issues if she like never eats her lunch and she's constantly complaining to her friends or whatever. But I feel like it's more the quiet ones who have issues than the ones who are like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like it is a fishing for compliments thing.
Yeah.
I think that if you're, maybe we'll cut this out because this could be a problematic statement. I don't know. But if you actually have an eating disorder, you don't want people to know about it.
You're hiding it. I don't think you're constantly being like, I'm fat, blah, 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 and like, and commenting on what other people are eating. Like, yeah, you're trying to be more secretive about it, not being like, I don't know, this girl is fishing for attention.
Yeah.
I feel like the one that wrote in, she needs to reply to that text and be like, hey, like, what you've been doing for the last couple months actually really hurts my feelings, and like, it isn't cool. You're my friend. Like, friends don't treat each other this way. And just tell her like how it's making her feel, and be like, sure, maybe I didn't need to say that to you, but like, I've had enough, and like, I don't want to be around you anymore if like this is how you're going to constantly be treating me. That's not a good friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah. Also, I hate that their friends were laughing at her.
I know, that's so mean.
Yeah. And the parents too. I'm like, if I was the parent, I'd be like, yeah, bitch, get it.
Good for you.
This is like awful to think about, but have you ever been the skinny girl in this story, fishing for compliments? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I knew you were the type. No, it's just okay. I have to. I'm trying to think back, and I'm like, oh yeah. I remember in high school, I was like skinny teenager or whatever. I had like crippling anxiety, could never eat, and I played a bunch of sports. But then I remember like one time I was like, oh wait, I'm getting kind of like, I would just notice after I eat that my stomach would be like sticking out. I was probably just like bloated, but I was like, wait, am I like getting kind of fat? Am I like gaining weight or whatever? And then I was like, okay, I need to lose this. But I was telling everyone, like, I think I've gained weight. Like, I think I'm getting kind of chunky. And I was telling everyone, like, I need to lose it. I'm going to lose it. And I'm like, I was telling everyone I'm putting myself through, like, fat camp. And I just remember I was tweaking out and being so vocal about it. And then one girl was like, let's see how long we can go without Kayla talking about her weight. And I was like, oh, I'm that bitch. But it's like, I feel like when you're 17, your brain is just so underdeveloped. You're not even thinking about how what you're saying is affecting everyone else. You're just thinking about yourself in the moment. And I remember like being embarrassed and being like, oh, probably everyone has noticed this about me, so I need to tell everyone that like I've noticed it too, and I'm gonna work on it.
Yeah.
Which is not healthy, and it didn't matter. Yeah, I don't know. We're just freaks at 17. Like, I don't even want to think about the stuff that I said back then.
No, me neither.
No.
Take it back. But yeah, no, I've definitely been in the same boat. I've done that as well.
Been a pick-me.
Yeah. We're going to do a whole episode on pick-me's.
Yeah.
Both of us have been pick-me's.
Yeah.
But we've also had experience with pick-me's.
Yeah.
And if you say you haven't been a pick-me, you're lying.
We've all been pick-me's.
Yeah.
This culture makes us pick-me's. This is in the thread adulting. My boyfriend is much smarter than me and more successful than me. I'm afraid he'll leave me. Hi, I'm a 27-year-old female, and I met my boyfriend who's 29 over a month ago. We hit it off quite instantly. We have amazing chemistry, attraction, and intimacy. The thing that bothers me is that he's extremely smart and studied his bachelor's, master's, and PhD at a prestigious university for which he won a scholarship. I absolutely adore him and admire him, but I am so afraid. Although I'm not dumb by any means, I have a history of 8-year-long depression and anxiety, which reduces my cognitive abilities and achievements. I decided to move out of my parents' house about 3 years ago, and I still find myself struggling with certain tasks. I feel under immense pressure now because I met this amazing human being who has achieved so much in his life. He's already started noticing some of my idiocracies, such as my disorganization. I appeared very confident when we met. A few days ago, I was forced to discuss my past, and it was underwhelming and even sad compared to his. He said he loves me and admires me for enduring what I've been through, but I struggle to believe him. I don't want to appear insecure. I love him so much as you can love someone after knowing them for a short while. I need to do something about this crippling insecurity of mine before it starts to leak out of me and damage our budding relationship. Any advice on the matter? Edit, we are both scientists. I'm a biologist and he's a biophysicist and chemist. I'm currently finishing my master's degree and concurrently starting a new one in bioinformatics. I want to do a PhD in the future and he's a postdoc.
Okay, so firstly, this woman is incredibly smart. Mm-hmm. I think she needs to stop placing so much value on intelligence and on schooling and on achievement. I think she needs to put more value on who she is as a well-rounded person. Mm-hmm. If you're just thinking that this one thing is what's good about you, and then you meet somebody who is a little bit better than you at that same thing, then you're gonna feel insecure.
Yeah, I agree. No, she's brilliant, obviously. And I think that it's probably awesome and really exciting that she's found this relationship, especially after like a 7-year stint with depression. And because they're both scientists, I feel like sometimes they have a bit of a harder time like having great chemistry with somebody or finding like love and connection in that way, just because of like, I don't know, their brains. Maybe that's prejudice. But I think that, yeah, she needs to stop placing so much value on intelligence. And she also needs to, like, it's hard because I don't know him. Yeah. But if he is great and he's wonderful, then, like, he probably loves her for a million other reasons aside from just how smart she is. And she's saying, like, he's already noticing, like, my idiocracies and shortcomings and disorganization and whatever. And it's like, you're not going to be perfect at everything.
No.
I think just like put the things on the table that you're not good at, and also notice that like he's not good at everything either, and that's okay. Like you guys can complete those parts of each other and like just be a team. Nobody's perfect.
It sounds like she is placing him on a pedestal. This is just an interpretation, but because she is so smart and a high achiever, she's probably used to being the one that's best at things. Yeah. And now that she's found somebody who might be a little bit more experienced in certain areas, now she's like, oh my gosh, I've never had this before. I've always been the smartest one. I've always been the one that's the most academically inclined.
That's so true. I would definitely be so insecure if I was like married to another artist and they were like really talented and I like admired them or whatever. Like you would feel insecure about your sort of like perceived shortcomings. Do you have like any areas where like you feel like insecure with Oliver, like, oh, he's better at this or that kind of thing?
I think so. I have tons. Oliver is probably the smartest person I've ever met. He is just so analytical and he can figure things out. Like he is just so intelligent, and I think that makes me a little bit insecure because I'm definitely more of a creative type. I'm not as analytical, I'm not as scientifically minded or whatever. But the thing is that like I think he's so amazing and I'd never want him to dim his light, to dim his intelligence to make me feel better. Like I love him because he's so smart. Yeah. I would never want to be like, oh my gosh, it makes me like feel bad about myself.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like with Winston, like right off the bat when we met, he would always be like, you're so smart. I love that you're so smart. And he would be like, you're so like driven. Like those were two huge things that he would like constantly be saying about me. And I was kind of like, oh, I am like, I was surprised that that's what he like noticed or liked about me. And then because same thing, like he's very, very smart. So I was like, why does he think I'm so smart? Like he's so smart. But the way that we are both smart is like completely opposite. And the things that we're good at are completely opposite. And the ways that our brains work are completely opposite. So we like fill in all of each other's gaps because just all of our skill sets are different. So it works wonderfully and it's awesome. But we both have so much admiration for the other because we're like, how can you think like that? Like I could never, which is awesome because like all the things where I'm just like, I can't figure it out. Like I'll get him to do that. And then he's like, how do I word this? Like, I don't know how to word this. And then I'll go figure that stuff out or like long-term planning for him or whatever. So I feel like if you guys can like have the conversation of like what you love about each other and there are like differences in that, just celebrate it and like lean into it. And it's okay to like have areas where you guys have different strengths and stuff like that. I think it's hard that they're both scientists though and like their fields are the same.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, definitely asking him what he likes about you would be good, because if he likes things about her that aren't to do with science, which he probably does, like, oh, you're, like, really caring, or you're, like, really funny, or just, like, these different things, and it's like she can lean more into those things and not focus so much on just, like, the science of it all.
Yeah, it feels like, I think it goes back to what we were saying of, like, she's just placing so much value on this one area of her life, but she's a whole person and a dynamic person, and there's so many different areas about herself that she could be loving, but it sounds like she just loves this one thing and is not focusing on the fact that she is caring or she is funny.
Yeah, I think too, like, something that helps me is, like, sometimes I'll get insecure, like, oh, when someone makes way more money than me, or different things like that, and I'll just say it to him of, like, oh, I feel crappy that, like, you're making more money than me, or leading to our household, like, financially a lot more than me, and stuff like that. And he's always just like, oh, don't worry about it, like, I love you, I don't care, like, everything I do is for us, and, like, it makes me so happy to be able to, like, provide for us, and that, like, you can be comfortable and, like, pursue art and, like, whatever. Like, he always responds like that, and then that makes me feel just like, okay, like, he's not resenting me for this, or, like, whatever. Just, like, all the little, like, lies that you get in your head that are, like, putting you down, it just clears them out.
And I think that if somebody is with a person who is feeding into those lies and is like, yeah, that is so true, like, you're shitty at this, or, like, I'm really upset that you're not as smart, or that you're doing this and not this, I think you're just with the wrong person. Go
100%.
find somebody who's nice to you.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, the only place where I could see, like, concern or merit is, and I feel like there are a lot of these people, and we've talked about this before, the people that, like, make fun of other people and think that everyone else is dumb. I hate that. And I feel like there's so many people like that think that everyone else is dumb, or will make comments like that. And it's like, no, they're not. And we can just focus on the positive.
Yeah.
But if he's somebody like that, then I can see her having insecurity. Yeah. So I think have conversations with him. And I feel like therapy could really help with all the insecurity stuff. And maybe just, like, being able to find other parts of her that she likes and can put her identity into, aside from being smart. And then I think, like, the mental health stuff, like, it is crappy. And, like, have you ever felt, like, insecure about that?
Mental health?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oliver is just the, like, most healthiest, like, happy-go-lucky guy, and I struggle more with anxiety, and so I get really anxious, even more so if I'm having an anxiety struggle, and then I feel like I'm putting it on him.
Yeah, and, like, it's hard if you feel like they don't understand or whatever. But it sounded like he was really receptive to her life story and stuff like that. So I think just, like, give him the benefit of the doubt, and, like, don't put the words in his mouth. Just, like, watch and see how he reacts before you assume.
Totally. I think just change your perception of yourself. Get that
Easy.
delusion, baby. Yeah. Those are my thoughts. Well, I think those are all of the Reddit stories we have for you guys. It was so great chatting with you today, chatting with each other. And we will see you guys next week. Next week, we're going to do a little spooky story.
Spooky light.
Spooky light. We're not
too
doing
scary.
Nothing demonic.
Maybe slightly, but
maybe a little bit.
Yeah, nothing crazy though. We don't have nightmares.
No. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, all those good things.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.